Hi, this is Ron Siegel Radio and Gold Star Mortgage right here in beautiful Southern California with your real estate tip of the day. The truth behind the rent versus buy debate. In a blog post recently published by CNBC's Diana Olnick, reported on the latest results of the FAU Buy versus Rent Index. The index examines that entire U.S. housing market and then isolates 23 major markets for comparison. The researchers at FAU use a quote-unquote horse race comparison between an individual that is buying a home and an individual that rents a similar quality home and reinvests all monies otherwise invested in home ownership, unquote. Having read both the index and the blog post, our team wants to clear up some confusion that may exist. There are three major points we would like to discuss. Number one, the title. The CNBC blog post was titled, quote, "Don't put your money in a house, says a new report," unquote. The title of the press release about the report on FAU's website was, quote, "FAU Buy versus Rent Index shows rising prices and mortgage rates moving housing markets in the direction of renting," unquote. Now, we all know headlines can attract readers, and the stronger the headline, the more readership you can attract. But after dissecting the report, this headline may have gone too far. The FAU report notes that rising home prices and the threat of increasing mortgage rates could make the decision of whether to rent or to buy a harder one in three major metros, but does not say not to buy a home. Number two, mortgage interest rates are rising. According to Freddie Mac, mortgage interest rates reached their lowest mark of 2017, that's last week, at 3.89%. Remember, what we're talking about is the points that we want to counter. So we're countering the idea that mortgage rates are rising. And again, according to Freddie Mac, mortgage interest rates reached their lowest mark of 2017 last week at 3.89%. Interest rates have hovered around 4% the majority of 2017, giving many buyers relief from rising home prices and helping with affordability. While some experts predict that rates will increase by the end of 2017, the latest projections have softened, with Freddie Mac predicting that rates will rise to 4.3% in the fourth quarter. Our counter item number three, quote, "Renting may be a better option than buying, according to the report," unquote. Of the 23 metros that study reports, 11 of them are firmly in buy territory, including New York, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, and more. This means that nearly half of all major cities in the U.S., it makes more financial sense to buy a home than continue renting one. In 9 of the remaining metros, the decision as to whether to buy or rent is closer to a toss-up right now. This means that all things being equal, the cost to rent or buy is nearly the same. That leaves the decision up to the individual or family as to whether they want to renew their lease or buy a home of their own. The 3 remaining metros, Dallas, Denver, and Houston, have experienced high levels of price appreciation and have been reported to be in rent territory for well over a year now. So that's not even news. So the beer and cookies here, one of the 3 authors of the study, Dr. Ken Johnson, has long reported on home ownership and the decision whether between renting and buying a home. The methodology behind the report goes on to explain that even in a market where a renter would be able to spend less on housing, they emphasize they would have to be disciplined enough to reinvest their remaining income in stocks, bonds, other investments for renting a home to be more attractive alternative to buying. Johnson himself has said, and I'll quote, "However, in perhaps a more realistic setting where renters can spend on consumption," that's where the beer, cookies, education, healthcare comes in, "ownership is the clear winner in wealth accumulation. Said another way, home ownership is a self-imposed savings plan on the part of those that choose to own," unquote. The bottom line, in the end, you and your family are the only ones who can decide if home ownership is the right path to go down. Real estate is local, and every market is different. So let's get together to chat about what's going on in this area and how we can help you make the best, most informed decision for your family. If you're out shopping for a new home, here are some tools for you. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564 to start a home search with no advertising. Text HBG to 79564 for our free guide, Things to Consider When Buying a Home. And finally, to get pre-approved for a same-as-cash home loan, the Fast Pass Approval, simply click the Apply Now button on the website, SiegelLendingTeam.com, to get started today. Again, Ron Siegel Radio and Gold Star Mortgage with your tip of the day.